Captain Drew Lockhart was running, not on his feet but through the stars. His small starship, the Gray Runner, shook violently as it slipped through a wormhole. Lights flickered. The engines cried like wounded beasts. He held the controls tight, eyes scanning the blinking warning lights on the screen. Proximity alert. Unknown signal detected. The ship's AI repeated. "Yeah, no kidding," Drew muttered. "She's here." She, the one being in the universe who made even bounty. Hunters shiver, not a monster, not a queen. Something in between. Her name was Zilara Vor, a half-reptilian, half-energy creature, leader of the Drexari Empire, and once, very briefly, Drew's wife. Not for love, not even for peace. Drew had tricked her. A fake ceremony, fake vows, and a real signature on a treaty that gave him safe passage across her territory. It had worked for a while. He took what he needed. Ancient alien tech from her vault, blueprints of advanced weapons, and a promise that he would return. He didn't. Now she wanted what was hers, and she wanted him. Drew wiped sweat from his forehead. The cockpit was hot. Systems were glitching. He had sealed the doors, set up defense turrets in the hallway, and locked out the teleport grid. At least, he thought he had. He reached for the control panel. "Check internal scans," he told the AI. Running scan. One moment. Silence. Then, unauthorized life form detected. Deck B, cryochamber hallway. His heart stopped. That's inside. The ship. He turned on the hallway camera. Static. The screen cleared for just a second. A shadow moved across the hall. Not walking. Floating. Too tall. Too wide. Too smooth. It wasn't wearing armor. It didn't need to. Her body was a weapon. No. No. Drew backed away from the screen. "I sealed the teleport grid. You're not supposed to be here." The lights went out. Complete darkness. And then, soft breathing. Not mechanical. Not human. Coming from behind him, he spun around fast, drawing. His blaster. There was no one there. Just the soft hum of the reactor and the blinking red light on the console. Backup power only. He tried to reboot the system. His fingers trembled. Zilara was inside the ship. That meant his last defense was already broken. Flashback. He remembered the day he met her. A peace dinner. Golden chandeliers, alien diplomats, and her. Tall, shining with scales that shimmered like diamond glass, eyes glowing violet. She had walked toward him like a queen, talked to him like a goddess. She even smiled. Drew had smiled back, lied through his teeth, and offered her the rarest thing in the galaxy, marriage. She accepted. In Drexari culture, marriage meant one thing, complete trust, and she gave it just once. He left the next day. Back in the present, Drew locked the cockpit doors manually. Steel slides slammed shut. He pulled out the plasma cutter and stood ready. "You won't get me, you overgrown space lizard," he whispered. From the air vent above, something dripped onto his shoulder, warm, green, glowing. He slowly looked up. Claw, long and curved like a scythe, slid down through the vent grate. Then a second one. Then eyes, glowing, watching him. He blasted upward. The vent exploded. Smoke and sparks flew. He ran, down the hall, past flickering lights, past sealed doors, through escape bay corridors. She was chasing him, not with speed, with presence. The whole ship felt like her now. Hot, tight, alive. Captain Drew Lockhart. Her voice echoed through the speakers. It was smooth, gentle, terrifying. "You left without saying goodbye." He ran faster. He made it to the weapons bay. Auto turrets turned toward the hallway. "Come on. Try me," he growled. The door hissed. Silence. Then, a shadow moved behind the fogged glass. The turrets beeped. "Ready." Drew aimed his gun. The lights turned red, and from the other side of the glass, he saw her. Finally. Her. The turrets fired non-stop. Laser. Beams lit up the corridor in red and white flashes. Metal sparked, glass shattered, and smoke filled the air. Captain Drew Lockhart ducked behind a storage crate, covering his head. His heart pounded like war drums. His ears rang. But even through the noise, he could hear her. Solara didn't scream. She didn't even growl. She laughed. Not the kind of laugh you hear from someone who's amused. The kind of laugh you hear before you die. The weapons bay door burst open, not torn, not blasted, melted. The thick steel slowly dripped down like candle, wax. Green fire danced across the edges. Solara stepped through the smoke, untouched, unharmed, and very, very calm. The turrets had stopped. Their barrels were bent like plastic straws, their circuits fried. She looked at Drew with a strange smile. "You tried to shoot your own wife?" she said softly. "That's very human of you." Drew backed away. "You're not my wife." "You said I do." "That's a binding contract in 42 star systems," she replied, stepping forward. "That means you're mine." Her tail slithered behind her, long, heavy, covered in armored scales. It scraped the metal floor, leaving deep cuts behind her. Drew turned and ran again. This time not toward safety, but toward the cargo hold. If he could get to the emergency pod and eject, maybe, just maybe, he could escape. He passed the cryo chambers, the science lab, the empty med bay. Every room flickered with broken lights. The ship felt like it was dying around him, but it wasn't the ship. It was her. She had entered its systems. She wasn't just on board anymore. She was in the power, in the circuits, in the air. "Access denied," the control panel said when he reached the escape pod door. He slammed his fist into the keypad. "Override protocol. Lockhart 7X. Voice print not recognized." He froze. "She's rewriting the ship," he whispered. "She's taking everything." Then he heard her voice again. Not from behind. Not from the speakers. From inside his head. "You always run, Drew. That's your gift, your curse, and your charm." He turned. Nothing, but he felt her. Watching. Breathing. "You lied to me, and I let you. Because I wanted to see how far you'd go. How clever you thought you were." The wall beside him cracked. From the shadows, a long black tendril slipped out, slow and quiet like a snake. Drew pulled his blaster and shot it. The tendril sizzled, but more came. 10 of them, then 20. Suddenly, darkness. The ship powered down, all lights gone, total black. And then, stars. The emergency dome above him opened, the ceiling peeled back. Space stared down at him. He was in the observatory dome, not the escape pod. She had moved him without him knowing. Drew gasped. "No. She's controlling the floors." "I'm everywhere," Solara whispered. "This ship is now my skin, my claws, my voice." A blue glow lit the glass around him. Solara appeared above the dome, floating in the vacuum of space with no suit, no protection. She didn't need air, or pressure, or mercy. She placed her clawed hand against the glass. The glass began to crack. Drew scrambled away, diving through the lower hatch. He rolled down the ladder into engineering. Sparks rained from broken panels. Steam hissed from cracked pipes, and there lay his secret weapon, the quantum disruptor core, stolen from Zalara's empire. The same device he had lied to get. The reason he faked the marriage. A sphere of pure, unstable energy. Banned in 11 galaxies. Too powerful to control, too dangerous to study, but maybe just dangerous enough to stop her. Drew grabbed the sphere's containment case. His hands shook. The moment he activated it, the ship would begin to collapse in on itself. He'd have 2 minutes, maybe less. Enough to eject? Maybe. Or enough to take her down with him. He didn't know. But one thing was certain. He wasn't going to let her win. Then, footsteps. Slow. Heavy. Near. Solara stepped into engineering. No longer glowing. No longer floating. She stood like a nightmare in armor made of bone and light. Her eyes no longer violet. Now they were red. Put the core down, Drew. He shook his head. You don't get to give orders anymore. I never gave orders. I gave you a choice, and you chose betrayal. You were going to destroy the Sol colonies. I was going to cleanse them. They enslaved 3 of our border planets for fuel. Drew hesitated. He had seen the Sol reports. He knew what the human colonies did, but it wasn't about war. It was about her, and how much of him she still owned. Solara stepped closer. He aimed the disruptor at her. I'll do it. I'll bring this whole ship down. You, me, everything. She didn't blink, I know, she said. Then she smiled and disappeared. Drew looked around. What the? Suddenly, alarm sirens. The ship's AI crackled to life. Core overload initiated. 1 minute until structural collapse. No, 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 no. Drew tried to shut it down, tried to reverse the surge. Nothing worked. The screen flashed. Manual override disabled. Solara's voice returned. You never controlled anything, Drew. You never escaped me. You were always just entertaining. He ran, again. This time for real. Not to fight. Not to win. Just to live. He reached the emergency ejection bay. This time the real one. But the pod was gone. Already launched. The screen read, Passenger, Solara Vor. She had taken the pod. Left him behind. The ship shook. Walls cracked. Fire burst from vents. Sirens screamed. Drew looked up. A final message blinked on the screen. Goodbye, my husband. Next time don't say I do. And then everything exploded. Everything was gone. Ship, crew. The cold vacuum of space swallowed it all. And somehow, Captain Drew Lockhart was still alive. He gasped as air filled his lungs again. It was like being born through pain. His body was weightless. His mind blurred. Then, sharp brightness. His eyes snapped open. He wasn't in his ship. He was floating inside a glowing blue chamber. Smooth walls, soft lights, and a pulse, like a heartbeat, surrounded him. A voice echoed through the chamber. Welcome to the Cradle of Vor. Drew coughed. No, I saw it explode. I saw it. You saw what I wanted you to see, said a voice behind him. He turned. Solara stood at the control panel. Her long robes shimmered like oil in starlight. No more armor, no rage in her eyes, just calm, calculated silence. You lied, he said. She nodded. I learned from the best. Drew tried to move, but his body didn't respond. The chamber had no gravity, no door, no weapons, just energy fields holding him in place. He floated, helpless, trapped. You killed my ship, my crew, he said. No, I saved you. Your ship was doomed the moment you took the quantum core. That power was a death sentence. Even I couldn't control it. Not for long. Drew frowned. So this is what? A prison? She shook her head. A second chance. She tapped the glass. A screen blinked to life in front of him. Images flashed. War zones, explosions, colonies burning, human banners falling. Solara's voice softened. Your species started this, not me. He said nothing. The images changed again. This time, Earth. But not as he remembered it. It was in chains. Orbiting ships above it bore her crest. Drew's chest tightened. You're going to invade. She didn't deny it. I made a deal, she said, with the Vor Senate. They wanted your head for treason. I convinced them to let me keep you as a bargaining tool. He narrowed his eyes. What do you want? She leaned closer, her hand pressed against the glass. I want you to stop running. I want you to tell the humans, surrender now or the stars will bleed. Drew stared at her. You want me to become your mouthpiece? No. I want you to become something better. She touched a glowing console. A hologram lit up beside her, a marriage certificate signed, sealed, galactic legal. You are my husband, Drew, whether you accept it or not. And my empire honors bonds. He laughed bitterly. So that's it? You fake a wedding to trap me, blow up my ship, and now, you want me to sell out my people? She said nothing. Just waited. Why not just kill me? He spat. She looked away. Because I still wonder what we could be, what you could become. Suddenly, the lights dimmed. A harsh alarm rang through the chamber. Red warning signals blinked across every panel. A robotic voice said, "Intruders detected. Biosignatures, human, military, heavily armed." Drew's eyes widened. Wait, humans? Here? Solara turned toward a screen. It showed a fleet of Earth warships dropping out of FTL near the Vor moonbase. The cradle shook with distant explosions. Drew grinned. Looks like you underestimated us. She didn't move, but her jaw clenched. You sent a distress beacon, didn't you? She asked quietly. Drew smiled. You let me live. You let me think. I only needed 6 seconds to code a signal. Her eyes burned with fire again, but not rage. Respect. We'll both die if they get inside, she said. I'm okay with that. You're lying. Maybe. The screen showed boarding pods launching, Earth Marines storming the outer ring, soldiers in black armor, guns glowing, coming for him, coming for her. Solara looked at him. They'll kill me, Drew. Good. They'll kill you too. You're a fugitive. Maybe. She leaned in closer, face to face through the glass. I can save both of us, but only if you make a choice. What choice? She held up a small metallic needle. You bond with me, for real this time. Silence. Drew's heart stopped. You're insane. This bond will rewrite your blood. You'll be protected under my empire's law. Even humans won't be able to touch you. He stared at the needle. And what happens to Earth? I'll delay the invasion. Call off the first wave. We'll negotiate. You'd betray your own empire? She nodded slowly. For a chance at something stronger than war. The screen showed the humans getting closer. Less than 5 minutes until breach. Drew's thoughts raced. Betray Earth? Join the alien who tricked him, or die here, forgotten, burned in the crossfire? He looked at Solara. She was the most terrifying being he had ever met, and maybe the only one who ever truly understood him. The chamber hissed open. He floated down slowly, landing on solid ground. She held out the needle. Choose Drew Lockhart. He stared at it. His hand shook, his lips parted. Then suddenly, boom! The walls behind them exploded. Smoke filled the chamber. Through the flames, a group of human soldiers charged in, guns raised. Get down! One of them yelled. They didn't know who was the threat, him or her. Drew looked at Solara, then looked at Earth's soldiers, his past, his future, his prison, his freedom. And in the chaos, he made his choice. Smoke. Fire. Chaos. That was all Drew. Lockhart saw as the chamber shook with the sound of boots, gunfire, and steel. Human soldiers rushed in. Earth's elite. Black armor, glowing visors, rifles aimed at anything that moved. But they didn't fire yet. They paused. Because they saw something strange. Captain Drew Lockhart standing side by side with the Beastwife herself. Captain Lockhart, shouted the soldier in front. Get down, that thing beside you. She's not attacking, Drew said, lifting a hand. The soldier didn't lower his gun. Sir, step away. She's a Class A target. We're under orders to shoot on sight. Zalara's claws flexed at her side, glowing faintly. Her eyes stayed on Drew. Choose, she whispered. His heart thudded in his ears, soldiers behind him, his would-be wife beside him. If he moved wrong, someone would die. The lead soldier stepped closer. Captain, is she holding you hostage? Blink twice if you're in danger. Drew shook his head. No, I'm not a prisoner. Not anymore. Sir? The soldier looked confused, nervous. She offered me a deal. A what? An alliance. The room went dead silent. One of the other soldiers muttered, "He's been turned." Another whispered, "He's a traitor." Drew looked back at Zalara. She was calm, but her claws glowed brighter now. She was ready to fight. "Enough," Drew shouted. "Put your weapons down, that's an order." But they didn't. Instead, the lead soldier said something into his comm. "Command, Lockhart's. Compromised. He's siding with the alien." A moment later, a voice replied in his earpiece. "Confirmed. New orders. Terminate both targets." Drew's eyes widened. "Wait, what?" The soldiers raised their rifles. Kalara reacted first. A pulse of purple light shot from her hands. A barrier formed between her and the gunman just as the bullet started flying. Sparks flew. Glass shattered. Drew dropped to the floor, rolling, behind a console. "Why are they shooting at me? I'm one of them." "You were," she said, crouched beside him. "But now you've touched something forbidden." More soldiers poured in. The cradle shook under the pressure of war outside. Earth had declared open betrayal. Drew felt something twist in his gut. They didn't want to rescue him, they wanted to silence him. He looked at Zalara. "You knew they'd do this?" "I hoped they wouldn't," she said. "Then you don't know humans as well as you think." "And maybe," she said, "you don't know yourself either." She grabbed his wrist, pulled him up. "We have to leave," she said. "Now." "Where?" "I have a backup ship, small, fast, cloaked. If we can reach it, what about Earth? If they want war, I'll give them war. But if you still want peace, Mineri, there's one more way." "What is it?" She didn't answer. Instead, she tapped the small silver needle still clipped to her belt. The blood bond. A permanent link. A symbol of union between species. If he accepted it, he'd be untouchable. Neither human nor alien could legally kill him, but he would never be able to return home. They ran. Blasts behind them, bullets in the air. He saw soldiers falling, some stunned by Zalara's energy bursts, others pulled into the floor by strange, alien vines that obeyed her voice. "She's a beast," someone screamed. "She's a goddamn monster." But Drew saw something else. She wasn't killing. She was protecting him. They reached a narrow hallway pulsing with alien lights. "Ships, down here," she said. But suddenly, a human commander appeared, gray beard, cold eyes. Drew knew him. General Rix Vaughn, the same man who trained Drew years ago. "Stand down," Vaughn shouted. "You're not leaving this station alive, Lockhart." Drew stepped forward. "Sir, you don't understand." "I understand. Enough, you bonded with her." "No, I didn't. Doesn't matter. You chose her over us." He lifted his weapon, but Zalara stepped in front of Drew. Her voice was ice. "Shoot him and I'll burn 10 cities. You'll die first," Vaughn said. She smiled. "So be it." The gun powered up. Drew moved before he could think. He jumped. In front of her. "Stop!" Both froze. "You want to kill me? Fine, do it, but don't lie and say I betrayed Earth. You gave me up the moment I tried to stop this war." Vaughn's finger trembled on the trigger. "You were our hope, Lockhart. Our symbol." Drew stared him down. "I still am. But only if we stop acting like savages." Suddenly, from above, sirens howled. The station groaned. Lights flickered. A robotic voice echoed. Self-destruct sequence initiated. 5 minutes to detonation. Zalara's eyes widened. "They've set the cradle to blow." "You activated it?" Drew asked Vaughn. The old general looked grim. "If we can't capture you, we'll bury the truth." Everything shook. Walls cracked. Drew grabbed Zalara's hand. "This place is going down." She nodded. "Escape pod's near." "What about him?" Drew asked, glancing back at Vaughn. She looked at him with ancient eyes. "You still care about your kind?" she said softly. He nodded. "They're wrong, but they're still mine." He turned to Vaughn. "I'll save you, sir, but you have to let us go." The general stared at him. Anger, pride, fear, all in one storm. Then he slowly lowered his gun. "Run!" Drew and Zalara dashed down the hall. Explosions rocked the cradle. Steam poured from the vents. They reached a hidden hangar, sleek, black ship ready and waiting. She threw him the pilot seat. "You fly." He started powering up. She inserted the needle into her own arm. "What are you doing?" She looked at him. "I trust you." Then she held out the second needle. His blood pounded in his ears. "Now it's your turn." Behind them, the cradle exploded. Ahead of them, stars opened like a path. Drew stared at the needle. His world, his loyalty, everything was burning. He could choose fear, or he could choose something terrifying and new. Silence. After the storm, silence. Captain Drew Lockhart floated in the pilot seat, breathing hard. His fingers trembled on the controls of the stealth ship, black as space itself. Smoke drifted from his clothes. His heart pounded in his chest like a war drum. Behind him, the cradle was gone, turned to dust and fire. A billion-dollar space station destroyed, thousands dead, all to erase him. He looked to his left. Solara, the alien queen, no, his bondmate now, sat in the co-pilot seat, staring out at the wreckage. Her deep purple skin shimmered with sweat and battle scars. She was silent. Between them, two needles glowed dimly in a containment pod. One had pierced her flesh. The other, his. He'd done it. He bonded. Not for love. Not for peace. But to survive. "I thought I'd feel different," he said finally. Solara didn't look at him. "You are." "How?" "You are mine now. And I am yours." Drew swallowed hard. Was that a threat or a promise? He turned his gaze to the stars ahead. They were on the run now. Every human outpost would be hunting him. Every alien house would be watching. "Where do we go?" he asked. Her answer came slow. "To the Ebon Court." He stared at her. "That's a myth. It doesn't exist." "Oh, it exists," she said. "And now, because of what you did, it wants to see you. The Ebon Court, a secret gathering of the most powerful beings in the galaxy. Alien rulers, exiled warlords, genetic kings, star witches, all of them bound by an ancient pact to never let humanity rise too far, because humans bred fast, spread faster, and had a nasty habit of winning. But now one of them was bonded to a queen. That made Drew Lockhart a problem, or maybe a key. The journey to the court took hours. The ship was fast, cloaked, nearly invisible, but not invisible to nightmares. Drew saw strange things in deep space, flashes of movement in the dark, signals in forgotten languages, a shadow that passed across the stars like a hand. "You seeing that?" he asked. Solara nodded. "Yes." "What is it?" "Old things," she whispered. "Things that wake when a new bond is made." Inside the ship, tension grew. Drew couldn't sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw General Vaughn's face. Gun aimed at his head. His former commander. His former father figure. They hadn't even tried to arrest him. They'd just tried to erase him. "I was never one of them," he muttered. "No," Solara said, appearing behind him. "You were more." He spun around. "Don't sneak up on me like that." She tilted her head. "Your body didn't react. That means part of you is adapting to the bond." "Great," he said. "Now I'm psychic." Then the dream started. He dreamed of her world, the first war, the crushed cities, her mother's death. He saw Solara as a child, tiny, shaking, covered in mud and blood as she stood before a circle of judges. He saw her fight for her crown, tear enemies apart with her, bare claws, refuse to kneel. He woke up drenched in sweat. The ship beeped. They were near. Through the window, a massive structure appeared in the dark, floating in orbit around a dead star. The Ebon Court. It looked like a shattered cathedral held together by willpower and hatred. Ancient banners floated in zero gravity. Shields of extinct species hung like trophies. Their ship was pulled inside by magnetic force, Inside, hundreds waited. Not humans. Not even one. 10-foot-tall spider queens. Crystalline, princes whose faces flickered like broken glass, a breathing cloud that spoke in thunder. And at the center, the empty throne. It spoke with a voice that came from inside Drew's own chest. The traitor arrives. Drew stepped forward, Solara beside him. Calm, deadly. He looked around. They were all watching him. "What do you want?" he asked. The throne answered, "To judge your crime." "What crime?" "The crime of becoming more." Drew clenched his fists. "I didn't choose this." "You chose the bond," another voice said, this one belonging to a serpent made of light. "You chose her." "You left your people," said the breathing cloud. "You let her live," hissed a spiked war beast. Solara stepped forward. "He saved me." "Because he needed you," said another voice. "No," she said firmly, "because he changed." A long silence. Then the court laughed. It was a terrible, bone-cracking laugh that echoed through time. Drew stepped up beside her. "If you're going to kill me," he said, "do it. But know this." He pointed at the stars. "Earth will come looking, and when they do, they won't stop. Not until every one of you is dust." The room fell silent. But the throne replied, "Then perhaps we need Earth on the leash." "What?" "You. You are the leash." Solara turned to Drew. Realization dawned in her eyes. "They don't want to kill you. They want to use you." "You bonded with the Beastwife," the throne said. "You will return to Earth, as her consort, as their representative, a symbol of peace. But under our control." "And if I refuse?" Drew asked. The throne's eyes burned inside his skull. "Then we send another. Someone worse. Someone human." He staggered backward, sweat pouring down his face. They weren't enemies. They were planners, manipulators. This had never been about him running from a marriage. It had always been about who controlled the marriage. Solara looked at him. "No matter what you do," she said quietly, "they will twist it." He stared at her. "Then what do I do?" She reached out, and for the first time since they met, she looked scared. "You run, with me." Suddenly, the throne boomed. "Do not flee." Chains of light shot from the walls, wrapping around Drew's body. "Now!" Solara screamed. She grabbed him, claws flashing. A new ship burst from under her skin, folding from a hidden dimension. She dragged him inside. Alarms screamed. Aliens roared. The court was chasing them, but they vanished. Into the fold. The galaxy watched in silence, a human and a monster. Running together, bonded by fire and flesh, and behind them, the hunt began. Somewhere in the dark folds between stars. The ship shook. Sparks rained from the ceiling. Emergency lights bathed the cabin in red. Captain Drew Lockhart gripped the edge of the console, blood running from his temple. Beside him, Solara, queen of the broken moons, was panting, one hand pressed to her side where acid burned through her armor. "They followed us," Drew said, eyes wild. "No," Solara whispered. "They anticipated us." She tapped at the control panel. But even the fold drive, the forbidden tech stitched from quantum flesh, was struggling. They had escaped the Ebon court, but not its hunters. Behind them, a ripple in space cracked open like a mouth. 6 dark ships emerged, not ordinary ships. These were void walkers, piloted by beings erased from history, bound to the court's will, wearing armor carved from dead gods. Each of them had one mission: find the hybrid, kill him, bring her back. Inside, the stolen ship, Drew was still in shock. He'd been a smuggler, a pilot, a scammer, a guy who faked a marriage to escape human prosecution. Now, He was the most wanted man in the galaxy. Why me? He asked aloud. Solara looked at him, her purple skin flickering under low light. Because you did what no other human dared. You bonded across bloodlines. You made peace. With a monster. Drew laughed bitterly. Peace? That wasn't peace, that was panic. But she just tilted her head. Intentions change. Bonds deepen. He looked away. The ache in his chest wasn't from the crash. It was something worse. The bond was changing. Him. He'd started feeling her emotions, seeing her memories, even dreaming her nightmares, and he knew, deep down, she was feeling his too. Suddenly, an alarm screamed. They're boarding, Solara said. He grabbed the plasma gun. I thought this ship was sealed. It is, she said. But they aren't using doors. The walls rippled. A scream of static shook the air, and then they were inside. Voidwalkers, 7 feet tall, limbs like knives, armor dripping with black oil, eyes that bled starlight. One of them stepped forward. Hybrid King, it said, voice like shattered ice. You belong to the court now. Drew raised his gun. Fired. It passed through the creature. They're not real, Solara said. They're projections. Then how do we stop them? We don't. She grabbed his arm. We outrun them. The ship lurched forward as Solara triggered manual fold jump, something banned by most. Races, the air boiled. Drew screamed as time twisted inside his bones. Then, silence. They were somewhere new. A quiet space, empty, but not peaceful. Below them floated a planet. Green, blue, familiar. Earth. No, Drew said. No, we can't go back there. They won't look for you here, she said. They'll definitely look for me here. He turned to her. You don't understand what I did. I left Earth. I tricked the fleet. I made them think. I died. And now they need you more than ever. Suddenly, a shadow passed across the stars. Another ship. But this one wasn't chasing them. It was broadcasting. Solara tapped the signal. A hologram flickered to life. It was... General Vaughn. Drew froze. To all humans in the Sol sector, the general said, eyes cold. Drew Lockhart has bonded with an alien queen. He is no longer one of us. If seen, do not engage. Alert Central Command. He is dangerous. Drew stared at the screen. They think I'm a traitor, he whispered. They're not wrong, Solara replied quietly. You betrayed them. Now, you must decide if you'll save them. He wanted to scream. Run. Hide in the void, but Earth wasn't just home, it was targeted. The Ebon Court had made it clear they didn't want war. They wanted control, and what better way than to send a bonded puppet, a hybrid king, a man wearing 2 flags on his back. That night, Drew stood alone on the edge of the observation deck. Below, Earth turned slowly. Clouds moved, storms brewed, cities blinked. It looked peaceful. But peace was a lie. He turned as Solara entered. They stood there side by side, 2 creatures of war, bound by something deeper than fear. If we land, he said, there's no turning back. I know. We'll be hunted by everyone, humans and aliens. Yes, he looked into her eyes. Then let's make them regret it. They landed on Earth, near the ruins of a forgotten military base in the Colorado wastes. But they weren't alone. As their ship cooled, a team of elite human operatives surrounded them. Laser sights locked on, guns raised. One of them stepped forward. Helmet off. It was Lieutenant Ava Chen, Drew's old wingmate. Her eyes went wide. Drew? Hi, Ava. Are you bonded to that thing? Solara growled low. Careful, human. But Drew raised his hand. Don't shoot, he said. I didn't come to fight. You betrayed the fleet, Ava said, voice shaking. I saved your lives, he shot back. The court was going to break the treaty anyway. "You're a spy now," she said. "No," he replied. "I'm the only one who knows what's coming." Then something huge blocked out the sun. A mothership. Alien. Unknown design. Not court. Not Earth. A third force. "What is that?" Ava asked. Zalara's face darkened. "Something worse than the court. Something old." Suddenly the ship cracked open, and a voice echoed across Earth. "The hybrid king must die. He is the last key. We are the architects, and we have come to finish what we started." Drew looked up, eyes burning, heart pounding, and he knew. This wasn't just a war for power anymore. This was a war for existence. Previously, Captain Drew Lockhart, a rogue pilot turned unlikely alien consort, bonded with Queen Zalara in a fake marriage. But their bond awakened ancient. Powers made them targets of the Ebon Court, and now the architects, a forgotten race that created both human and alien empires, have returned to finish what they started. Earth, Colorado wastelands. The wind howled across cracked stone. Drew stood in silence, watching the mothership hover in the sky like a dark god. The hybrid king must die, the architects had said, and now, entire cities were dark. Satellites were falling. Communication was blocked. They weren't just coming for him. They were here to reset the galaxy. Lieutenant Ava Chen pointed her rifle toward the sky, then back to Drew. "You brought them here," she said, voice full of pain. Drew nodded. No, he didn't try to argue anymore. He was done running. Behind him, Queen Zalara's skin shimmered with rage and fear. She gripped the curved blade at her hip, her claws flexing. "They should be extinct," she growled. "My ancestors said the architects died in the first collapse." "Then your ancestors lied," Drew said. She looked at him and saw something she hadn't before. Resolve, leadership, fire. The ground shook. A massive pod dropped from the mothership. It opened slowly, like a flower blooming death. Inside stood a tall, faceless being. Gray skin, 4 arms, no eyes, only a pulsing orb in the center of its chest. Drew Lockhart. It spoke into Ho, his mind. "You are the fracture, the codebreaker, the failure in our design. We made humans. We made Zalara's kind. But your bond was not meant to happen. Your love corrupted the equation." Ava blinked. "Did it just say, love?" Zalara growled. "Don't flatter yourself, human." Drew smirked. Too late. Suddenly more pods fell. From the earth, ancient constructs rose, machines built to erase civilizations. Huge, towering. They looked like titans made of bone and light. One of them took a step. The shockwave flattened an entire forest. "Fall. Back!" Ava shouted. Her squad scattered, firing everything they had. But bullets did nothing. Missiles melted in mid-air. Even orbital strikes bounced off their shields. "They're not fighting to conquer," Drew whispered. "They're here to cleanse." He looked at Zalara. "If we don't stop them here, they'll rewrite history. Erase every planet." She nodded. "We end this together." The plan deep beneath the old base, Drew found what he was looking for. A quantum vault, built in secret by Earth's first space engineers. Inside was a weapon never tested. The memory bomb. It didn't destroy matter. It destroyed identity. Wiped memory from digital and biological systems across entire regions. Risky, dangerous, but the only shot. "Let me trigger it," Zalara said. "No way. Your people need you." "So do yours." She paused. For the first time in weeks, her hard shell cracked. "Do you even know why I chased you?" she asked. Drew smiled. "Revenge?" "No. Because when we bonded, I felt something. Something real. Something they told me couldn't exist. You gave me a choice." He stepped forward. "And you gave me a reason to stop lying." Above ground, Earth's last defense line collapsed. Drew and Zalara ran toward the center tower where the architect's core signal pulsed. The moment they crossed the barrier, their bodies started to fade. Time was breaking around them. The architects weren't just machines. They were rewriting reality. Inside the core, Drew placed the memory bomb. Suddenly, time froze, and a voice filled the air. You were never meant to live. You were code, a prototype, a flaw. Why fight fate? Drew laughed. Because I chose to. You were built from war. Maybe, but now I fight for peace. The countdown began. Seconds. Solara screamed, holding back two of the architect warriors with her bare hands. 7. Drew, Ava called from the edge of the burning battlefield. Don't do it. 4. He looked at Solara one last time. Her eyes, glowing, furious, proud. 3. Together? He asked. Together, she said. 2. He smiled. Let them remember this. 1. Blinding light. The bomb exploded, not with fire, but with silence. Every memory link, every mind interface, every artificial consciousness, in a 10,000-kilometer radius erased. The architects' machines froze. Their titans fell like statues. Even their mothership blinked, confused, empty. They forgot why they were here. They forgot who they were. They disappeared back into the stars. Silent. Confused. Broken. Aftermath Earth was saved, but the victory came with a price. The memory pulse didn't kill Drew or Solara, but it scrambled something deep in them. Drew woke up in a field 3 days later, alone. No ship, no weapons, no scars, no memory. Just a strange marking on his arm. In a far-off sector on a forgotten moon, a tall purple woman watched stars rise. She didn't remember his name, but every night she dreamed of blue eyes, of a broken ship, of a laugh that made her feel safe. Epilogue. 6 months later, a small shuttle landed on a jungle planet. Drew stepped out, still no memories. But something had drawn him here. At the edge of the trees, a woman stood. She turned, blinked, then slowly smiled. I think I know you, she said. Yeah, he replied. Me too. The end.